The difficulty is, of course, there's very few clubs in the world that can afford Gareth Bale. He's 28 years old. He has a long-term contract. He earns in excess of $30 million a year. And United are one of the very few clubs that can match that. I think it would be mad for United not to make an inquiry. Now, from there to saying this is going to go ahead, 100 million euros is a huge amount of money, even for a club like Manchester United. You've got issues, obviously, with Alexis Sanchez. One of the two would have to switch flanks. And certainly Mourinho, thus far, has prioritized the defense. And you kind of wonder, one of the reasons that Bale is looking to move on is that, there's been some suggestion in Madrid that, he doesn't want to track back and do the defending. He wants to focus and be fresh on the attacking front. One thing you know about Mourinho's team, you need to track back and work hard off the ball.
Well, Craig, I know we spoke a little bit about this yesterday, and you were pretty adamant that Bale should probably stay at Real Madrid, for next season. But does this transfer make sense for Jose Mourinho?
Well, I'm not adamant he should stay for next season. I'm adamant he should see what they do in terms of appointing a new manager and then take it from there. Mm-hmm. Clearly, if the situation had continued under Zinedine Zidane, who's no longer there, then he would have to look to be leaving because his game time was limited. And as Gab said, at 28, he's way better than that, and he's wasting himself to some extent. But since the managerial situation has changed, then in my opinion, his mindset and his strategy should change in the next few weeks.
So does this kind of a transfer make sense for Mourinho?
What?
Gareth Bale at Man United?
Gareth Bale makes sense for most clubs.
Anybody. Yeah.
So whether it was Jose Mourinho or anybody, it makes sense. It makes sense for most clubs when he's fit.
Stevie?
We've always spoken about Gareth Bale going to Manchester United, and the question has always been the same one. Considering the way Mourinho plays, considering Mourinho would want him to defend, would Gareth Bale want to go to Manchester United? Mm. If Sarri, for example, was the manager of Manchester United, this whole thing would be an awful lot easier. I'm with Craig, though. The fact that Zidane is gone, I don't see any way that Bale goes. And by the way, if he does go, it's going to be a lot more than 100 million.
Where do I begin? From the owner to the manager to some players, it seems like there's just absolute turmoil. Just how serious is this situation?
Well, I think there's one thing that trumps everything else right now, and that is the situation with the owner, Roman Abramovich. Because, frankly, I always had the impression the issue of tension with the players had been overplayed. It's only a couple of them. They're at the World Cup anyway. And the issue with the manager, look, worst comes to worst, they have a manager. His name is Antonio Conte. He just won the FA Cup, and he won the league the year before. So I think from the club's perspective, if the scenario happens where Conte is still around, it may not be ideal, but I think they'd rather do that than go and pay him off or go and make a rush decision for what could be the wrong guy. But the issue with Abramovich is pretty serious because he has not had his British investor visa renewed thus far. That could change in the future. And there are implications for it. It limits the amount of time that he can spend here in England. He does have an Israeli passport as well, but technically it's not a business, it's not a residence or a work visa, of course. He can just come in. And Chelsea, of course, have announced that they're putting their stadium expansion plans on hold. That would have been an investment of near to $1 billion. Now, they say it's the current business climate and Brexit and whatever else that's not favorable. But you can't help but taking a step back and saying, well, wait a minute. If I'm Abramovich, you're happy to take my money and all my investment in the country, but you won't let me come and live and work there. Why should I continue chucking money in?
If we have a look at the odds to win the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Germany, no surprise, are second favorites behind Brazil. But the real question is, this is their fifth international friendly that they have gone winless, gentlemen. Should we be worried?
No.
No.
Do you know what friendlies mean? Absolutely nothing. Middle of the donut.
The fifth one.
Middle of the donut. This is a country, Germany, that when push comes to shove, when it comes to the crunch on the big occasions, so many times they get it done. They get the business done when they need it. Now, is it ideal losing friendly games or not? Whatever when they have quite a strong team out. No, it's not. But I wouldn't be concerned. Not at all.
Not at all. Zero.
For the same reason, Chris
Listen,
said.
they've made so many changes in these friendlies you're talking about that they won't be bothered either. And the fact the group they're in, they're so far ahead of everybody else in the group. Craig's right. When it matters most, Germans tell
Do
me.
you know if Germany had won this few of these friendlies and beaten Austria today? Because Austria are not a great team. I mean, Austria are not a great side. They had a great qualification for the Euros, and then they went down there and they absolutely imploded. They're workmanlike. But had Germany beat them by 4 or 5, we wouldn't have been sitting here going, "Oh, that's it. The World Cup is over." We'd have been saying, "Look, that's what we expected. Germany will be absolutely on the ball once they get to Russia."
All right, let's go to Gab. Gab, what do you think? Because like I said, I know friendlies are friendlies, but it's 5 of them now that they've gone without a win. So are you even worried just a little bit?
Well, me worried about Germany not being good? Why? I'm terrified of that idea. No, look, I am an Italy fan after all. Look, I think Germany's are valuable for what the managers see, more so than for the result. And if you're talking about 5 friendlies over a period of time, that's less important. I think what matters is they're out there. They're working hard. He's looking at different combinations. They're also probably doing a different type of physical preparation as well. Probably heavier workloads, trying to top up ahead of the World Cup. Whereas the Austrian players after this game are going on holiday. So no, I wouldn't put much weight on this at all.
Alrighty, well, let's just remind you what group Germany are in less than 2 weeks when they go in action in the 2018 FIFA World Cup. They're in Group F along with Mexico, Sweden and South Korea. And no surprise that the SPI favors them to easily get out of the group and advance to the round of 16. So if we have a look at the England team now, I would say that Gareth Southgate has pretty much found his set team with the players that we saw today. Say for 1 or 2 changes, would you gentlemen agree?
If that is indeed his team, then they're not going to be winning the World Cup. Listen,
I don't think many expected England to win in the first place.
Listen, you can say they've got talent. Kane, Sterling and Dele Alli and Lingard going forward are quite exciting. But everything behind that, I mean, look at the back three. Cahill is past his best for sure. Stones you can't rely on.
He scored a goal today.
Jordan Pickford in goals has had a tough season with Everton. The other choices are Pope, who's a novice at this level, and Jack Butland, whose team got relegated. So going forward, they could be exciting. But what's going on in the middle of the park and defensively and in net?
Well, I'd make 2 changes to that team straight away without changing any players. I'd move Trippier and Ashley Young back into proper positions for starters, because Trippier is a right back and Ashley Young's a left back. The one thing they could do is they could bring Maguire in for Gary Cahill, but that'll give him 3 centre backs that want it, and that's the way he wants to play, with 3 centre backs, because it allows him to get the wing backs forward and it allows him to play maybe with Sterling around Harry Kane. But if you put Maguire, Stones and Walker, who's going to play a right-sided centre back, that's 3 guys that like to come out with the ball. And Harry Maguire, we've seen him for Leicester, he likes to maraud forward with the ball, so does John Stones. 3 centre-halves that want to do that could leave them exposed. The other thing is Henderson coming in for Eric Dyer, but I'm with Stevie here. I've seen some very good England teams over the years that haven't achieved anything, and this is a not very good England team that ain't going to achieve anything.
Ooh, a bunch of Debbie Downers here. Gab, what about you? What do you make of this England team? Is it as dire as these two are making it look?
I mean, look, I think compared to past England teams, there's an obvious talent gap. I'd also question personally this, playing 3 at the back. It seems like a way of putting more centre backs on when it's a position where you really don't have that much depth. But what I would say, and this is slightly different, as somebody who lives in England, Gareth Southgate, thus far anyway, is pretty much winning the PR war. He's been very open. He's had a ton of support. He's saying the right things. You don't have any of this we're going to go there and come back with the World Cup. Everybody's very humble. Everybody's talking about a process. And that kind of puts a good vibe around the team. And who knows? In the past, we've seen them crumble under pressure. Maybe this means that there's less pressure. And, maybe this means that they can go on a run.
Now, if we're talking about top awards in the world to win, I think that the PR award is right up there, guys. What do you make of Gareth Southgate winning this? Because I think he should be absolutely thrilled.
Listen, any one of us could come out with what Gareth Southgate's coming out with. They absolutely breezed through the qualifying, yes, And
So same old.
And friendlies don't matter. And we have a saying in football, you know, pre-season, everybody's fantastic. Everybody's got a chance of winning the league. But unfortunately, we actually have to play the games. So Gareth Southgate can come out with all the cliches, all the classics, say all the right things. But see, once that first ball's kicked and that whistle goes, let's see how he does then.
No, he's a lovely guy, Gareth.
I have to get Craig's opinion on this.
No, he's a lovely. I know Gareth. You know, he's a lovely guy, very approachable, handles himself well, speaks well, and that is perfect for those people, particularly at the FA, that like less drama from the managerial position. And Gareth handles himself great, and he's done what he's asked to be done so far in the job. And let's be honest, there's been a lot of people paid a lot more money, and they've made a pig's ear of it as well for probably 5 or 6 million a year plus. As Stevie said, at the end of the day, it will matter not a jot until they get to the World Cup, until they start seeing performances, but more importantly, results. So all the words now and all the talk will go out the window if England go there and don't perform. Let's not forget, in 2014, they finished bottom of a group that included Italy, and Costa Rica won it. England can ill afford something similar.
If we look at Belgium's starting 11 against Portugal, all I have to say is wow, talent straight from front to back.
Is there anything else we can say about this team that hasn't been said for the last, 4 years, maybe longer? And guess what? The one thing they haven't done is produce when it's mattered.
Is this your difference?
Well,
I mean, you look at...
I mean, they had a new manager. They had a managerial change, which seems to look a lot more positive than before. But
well, the problems before was they couldn't defend. And Martinez, as good a coach as he is going forward, doesn't have a reputation for sorting out the defence either. So, listen, this team has a lot of questions to answer. Yes, it's got talent. It's got talent all over the shop. But can they put it together? That's the question that we need answered, because we certainly can't. We've said so many good things about this team, but they haven't produced.
When you're leaving players like Nainggolan out of the squad, now I know it's more than a football decision. There's also some discord, I believe, that Martinez thinks he might bring to the camp. But when you're leaving players like that out, who have had a great season in Italy, then you need to make sure the ones that you're taking are going to perform for you. Otherwise, you're going to get a backlash.